Hello, Lenny.
Hello,
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine. Bit nervous.
Nervous.
Yes,
Um,
because I'm Norwegian, so I don't speak English that well. So,
oh, no worries. No worries. It's perfect.
no,
It's okay. It's okay. It's not about the language. So,
no,
uh,
I know.
so tell me about your story, Lenny, and what got you here?
Yeah, I put some points down just
Some
to
pointers.
the word. Yeah, when I was a little girl, I had a very playful, creative childhood.
Mhm.
And I remember when I got self-aware that I thought I was a person and I started comparing myself.
Mhm.
That playfulness kind of disappeared
Yeah.
and got more and more fearful. And because no one told me, I didn't know about anything about this, I just starting to try to do as much as I could to get approval
Mhm.
and start disliking myself and especially the body. And yeah, end up with a lot of fear of failure, eating disorder, depression, and anxiety, especially when I was supposed to perform in school, to stay in
Yeah.
front of others, um, and just try to do more and do better than people really expected, just so that they will like me.
Mhm.
And I was always been working out a lot,
Mhm.
and I feel that I got away from it when running or going in the forest or being outdoor, especially. And I still do. I love it very much. And
Awesome.
being with animals.
Yeah.
So I have a dog. He's 15 today,
Oh,
so
wow.
he's very old. So I'm not
What kind of
going to give
dog?
him. He's a basset,
Basset.
petite
Oh,
basset. Yeah,
yeah.
basset. Not a basset hound, but a bit longer legs.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like a Disney dog.
Yeah.
And I start yoga, and I'm a
Mm.
Qigong instructor.
Okay.
And I, I know now that I've been searching since I was 14, 15.
Yeah.
I didn't knew that at the time. I just feel lost,
Hmm.
felt lost. Um, and then I got sick or ill, and after working for some years, and the body collapsed. And then I really started searching. There must be something else.
Yeah.
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 And I got a divorce after having two kids, and I was on my own. Had to start again, lost the job, um, started my own company, and same thing happens, worked very hard and collapsed again.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I worked 40% for some years, and 2 years ago I just had to stop.
Mhm.
But I'm seeing now that I was always seeking for something for the person,
Yeah.
freedom for the person, not from the person.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So two
It's like
years
running
ago,
the opposite direction, right? So
yeah,
yeah.
I discovered non-duality,
Hmm.
and this changed. And something has changed. Something is falling away.
Yeah.
I followed Eckhart Tolle for many years, been to his retreat in Norway,
Hmm.
and then Michael Singer.
Oh yeah.
And through Michael Singer,
Entitled Soul.
Yogananda, yeah,
Yeah.
and Yogananda.
Hmm.
And then I start to do Kriya Yoga,
Hmm.
and still just doing,
Yeah.
just replace one doing with another doing to hope to get another result.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and I've been, yeah, listening to videos from, started with Wild Satsang, Chris.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's a good guy. Yeah. He looks
Yeah.
like a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I talked to him a couple of times. And that led me to collect Whiteman. I don't know if you know her. And in a small meeting group there, I talked to one of the guys, mention your name. His name is Davy. I think he's from Scotland or Ireland. So he's been listening to you, and I
Here you
started
are.
to listen to videos.
Yeah.
And I just tried to just follow what comes next,
Yeah.
or just opened up.
Yeah.
So
So how's it been since listening to my videos? Has anything, or was it?
yeah, the feeling when you ask the questions is like almost like a split, like a
Mhm.
light or
Yeah.
something, and it's just something's opening, or and I like what you say is not a landing,
Yeah.
because I studied a lot at
Hmm.
school. I'm always mentalizing things.
Yeah. Because a lot of what's out there, either teaching or non-teaching, is for the mind, right? So when
Mm,
the mind thinks that there is something to do, then it's
yeah,
in the doing. And then when it's
yeah,
the more the radical that there's nothing to do, there's no doership, then it's non-doing.
yeah,
So what's between doership and non-doership?
yeah,
Mhm. It's like jumping off a plane and then
yeah,
realizing there's no parachute because there's no landing. So it's
yeah,
okay. So it's like floating basically, right? Because before we were studying about the self improvement, and then now it became the no self improvement, which is still about the self, right? So what's between self and no self? There's a quietness, there's a subtle directness, right?
yeah,
Without any kind of position or no position. It's just like a floating, basically.
yeah,
Yeah. Because I studied yoga to kriya, mantras, right? It's almost a landing. And that's
yeah,
why I just kept on going. And then when I got sick of it, I'll go to another landing and then another landing. And then
yeah,
even if somebody tells you, that there's no one or no me, that's still a
mm,
landing.
yeah,
Even when you say just this, that's still a landing. So what's between just this and not just this?
an opening.
Yeah. And it's a never-ending unfolding, right? So it's not a location, not a
Yeah,
destination, right? It's almost like it's a flow. Then
yeah,
if you take away the language creates a beginning and ending, or here and there. What are you without language?
free.
Mhm.
That's the
It's
word.
freedom from all ideas of freedom, right? Because the moment that we make the moment that we put the word freedom into a freedom definition, then it becomes subjective. But when we even our ideas of freedom is subjective, right? So and then we listen to everybody's idea of freedom, and you're like, how do I get there? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So when you take away the language of freedom, then there's freedom that you cannot say. It's when you and I meet in between and then we vote to solve and then we play in an open field. Back to that
yeah,
innocence, like a kid again. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what everybody else really is looking for that sense of home, peace, contentment. When you were not afraid as a child, when innocence was, but the innocence has never really left. Just the doubt of that innocence, the belief that there's other than innocence, the
Yeah.
belief that there's guilt and shame and all that kind of stuff, right?
Mm.
So what do
Yeah,
you,
and fear.
yeah, and fear basically, right? So what are you looking at if you cannot use words? Mm,
Mm.
mm. And if there's no next, if there's no past, then this is always just like this. The thoughts might try to convince us to go to the next or the past, but if you look at if the past is a thought and the future is a thought, then there's got to be just only what we can't say,
Yeah.
only here. Yeah,
And is this experience because I've learned this. There's no future and no past.
yeah,
And then there is just mental thing.
yeah, yeah. But what if you just take away the language?
Yeah.
Then that's better for you. Yeah,
That's what I sense now.
yeah, yeah. It's just language, isn't it? So if all words are made up, if
Yeah.
language is a fabrication, then what else is there to seek? It's almost like the elimination of the language and seeing through, not trying to get rid of it, but just seeing through the fabrication, the elimination of the fabrication, because the language will come and go, right? It's like a program. But when you realize that there's nothing to realize because the program is just a language, then there's freedom. And then what? There's nothing else in the next. What's in the next? More words, more language, more teachings, more shiny guru, more shiny teacher. So this is kind of like underground, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know about this, but it's beginning to grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It takes away the teacher and the speaker and the seeker into the languageless, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I felt I come to a point now where I actually can't do this anymore, but I can't
Yeah.
stop. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's stop. There's nothing else to seek. Stop. Right? Stop and smell the roses, as they say.
Yeah.
Smell the coffee, whatever. Go
Yeah.
for a run, right? Enjoy the 15 years of your dog, right? Yeah. Put down the book, turn off the computer, right? And just come into this radiance, into this freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has happened gradually, I think,
Hmm.
because when I started Kriya Yoga,
Yeah.
you're supposed to do it in the morning and midday, or it, I couldn't do it. It
Yeah.
just stopped. I couldn't because it's too rigid.
Yeah. I did that too.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now I have this room. I started painting again.
Hmm.
I haven't done for years, and I really love it. And I can
Yeah.
just sit here and look into the forest from my house and just no videos, nothing. I just sit, and
Yeah.
that is just happening. Or I
Looks like
find it,
you've retired the self that was never there in the first place.
yeah,
It's like a retirement, right? Because when I was seeking and I was like, when is this going to stop? Because there's
Mm,
always going to be another one, another, another person. But everybody just seems to have more words. Sorry, my glasses, more words and more concepts and more ideas about this.
yeah,
When it's always mentioned that it's too simple. And I was the same, what I was just giving a whole bunch of ideas and concepts until this doing this one-on-one is just the most effective way to end
Yeah.
the seeking, in my experience anyway, right? Because you can
Yeah.
go to a retreat and no one really, they just go back to the next retreat and the next retreat and the next retreat. And then you
Yeah.
see the same people over and over. And they're like, oh, I've been doing this for the past 20 years or 15 years or 10 years. When does it stop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just listen to your talk with was he from Poland? He also had do 101,
Oh,
which is
Marcin, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
That
funny,
was,
right? When Marcin did a one-on-one with me, maybe about um 8 months ago, I can't remember how long, 6 months ago, someone messaged him that, oh, you know what, you should not listen to this and everything, people from the radical thing. And now, you know what, it's a beautiful proof that this is just a beautiful undoing, right? So now he's doing the same thing. And
yeah.
he came to visit me actually last summer. Yeah, it was nice to
Yeah.
see him. We
Yeah.
just hang
And
out
this,
as friends. There's no like guruship or whatever, right? It's just friends basically. So sorry,
yeah.
you're gonna say something about merchant.
No, but I just loved listening to that. And you said something about when you listen to music and it's it's just seamless. It's not. It's just floating.
Yeah,
And I also heard you said when I sit here and there's s- just a little sound or a little vibrational sound or something.
yeah, like like a ring of the ear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but or the whole body just feel heavy. Just I can't move.
yeah.
Is that
It's just so relaxing, right? You're
normal?
like, oh, sinking into it.
Yeah,
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 yeah, and it's just the simplicity of it, right? It's not complicated, like because I was the king of practices, right? So I would do 2, 3, 4 hours of practices every day.
mm,
And I never got to see the sunrise. I was doing my mantras, my inquiry, my meditation, any purification, and then after that, I was teaching it. So
yeah,
it's just nonstop, nonstop. And I'm like, am I just really avoiding life?
mm,
Am I just going really inward? And then I'm just denying what's external,
mm.
as if there should be any difference, right? The internal and the external. So what's between the external and the internal?
It's just this floating feeling again.
Yeah.
Mm,
Because before I tried to go inwards, inwards, inwards. And if my external were disturbed, I would say that I'm not doing enough internal practice.
yeah,
Maybe I need to do
and
some yin yoga or some kundalini yoga or some ashtanga or some, I don't know,
some doing
some doing. Yeah.
or
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah. And then I get to the
Yeah,
opposite side of it when there's none doing. And I'm like, I'm just going to watch TV and get fat. Which is still a non doing, is still a doing. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Yeah. It's the same
yeah.
thing.
Because the mind think it has the solution, so now the doing is not doing.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's different teachers have different pointers. So like dropping down, falling back, and I try oh, fall back, drop down, and there's still a doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Settle in, you know,
Yeah.
um, feel it in,
Look inside.
look inside,
But I like
observe.
what thing Colette do. She's if you point out, the attention goes out, and then you point where does the intention comes from.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't heard what she does. So
Yeah.
but for me, it's just simple. Just take away the words, the language. It's simple.
Yeah.
Because the more instructions, the more complex it gets.
Yeah.
But the mind is trying to understand it. Yeah.
But in the beginning, did you feel the gap open more and more, or was it a sudden shift for you?
Um, it was a big, and then it was subtle,
Yeah,
gradual. Yeah, yeah. It was like I couldn't find Emerson, and I was just like, because I was so invested in Emerson.
yeah,
I wasn't so invested in the self or the no self or whatever, right? I was invested in that word, the word I, me, self, and I couldn't find it. So I was like, if I can't find the Emerson or the self or the I, then everything that Emerson says is a fabrication. And I was just like, no. And then everything was in its perfect place.
yeah,
The only thing that was out of place were the thoughts.
yeah. Hmm.
And then there was a silence for a long time. I
Did
had
you-
this opportunity to be in a place by myself, right? So
Yeah,
luckily there was a month of just walking back and forth, doing cartwheels, like a little kid basically, right? It's like language left for a month. And there
yeah,
was just looking, and I don't really remember much. I'm just so happy that just recently, maybe a year or 2 years ago, my computer shut down and I had to extract a lot of the files. And in those files was the old journals that I've written during that time. Um, because I can't really remember it. And it was just, I'm like, okay, that's what it was, right? So because I saw that the language was leaving, I was like, oh, I could not find language anymore. And there was just this, and then I guess it's just a never-ending unfolding, right? So it's what's between the observer and not a no observer? And it takes you directly, right, at this
yeah.
moment.
It's
Yeah.
like a sharp zoom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi, how are you?
yeah,
What are you doing? Because before, right, the language can only fluctuate between the observer and the non-observer. So this can't really be caught in language, right? So because it's just
Mm.
very hi, direct, now, here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's
And I
almost like,
also had this, yeah, this need to just be alone. But I
yeah,
have kids, they're grown-ups quite.
yeah,
But the one that lives at home, she's 18, so
yeah,
things happen all the time.
yeah.
And that's how it is.
Well, now
That's the situation.
you're an empty nester internally and externally. You know, that's a good one. Yeah, it's just very wild, right? That there is just this simplicity when we go through so many books. I don't know how many books have you read, Lenny?
Oh, a lot.
Yeah,
I gave away a lot of books. Still have some, but there's been a lot.
yeah. I had so many books and so many audible books, right? That I was always looking for the new release because I've read it all. So I'll be
Yeah.
typing awareness, consciousness, enlightenment. And then I'm like, oh, there's no new release. That's disappointing. I'll go to the bookshop. The bookshop knew me already, right? There's this, that bookshop made so much money from me.
Yeah.
So much money. Like I would leave there with like 200, $300 worth every
Yeah.
time. Yeah. Because not only you buy one book, you buy like the incense
Mm.
and the journals, the vegan journal, the vegan leather bound journals.
Yeah.
Just all this, um, much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also changed my way of eating because as my body collapsed 2 times, uh,
Yeah.
some of the searching also have been to be healed. the
Yeah,
body
yeah.
healed,
Mhm.
and now I there's nothing to do with me actually.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and when you stop focusing on it, you eat healthy.
Yeah, it's so
Because
funny,
that's
right? Because before I would do that as a seeking
mm,
mechanism, right? I'm
yeah,
gonna purify myself. I'm gonna eat this, this, and that. And now you know what? Eating happens happily.
yeah,
If I eat salads in 1 week, cool. If I go to a buffet with a lot of meat, cool.
yeah,
But there's no more eating as a seeking.
no,
Yeah. The body just kind of like what I always say, right? I can eat a box of cinnamon rolls, and the next day I'm like biking and running, right? Because the body just reacts that way. You're like, okay, not
yeah,
even consciously, right? I'm like, okay, you know what? Instead of like an hour, I'm like running for 2 hours or something. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's
yeah,
just the sugar leaving the body.
yeah.
Yeah, no
Because
guilt or shame about it.
mm,
Just it's just what
no,
it is.
but when I had this eating disorder, it's more like a thinking disorder.
Oh yeah,
The result is that you do something to the body, but the shame and the self-hate and everything. So when that is gone,
yeah, and that's
change.
probably why you were collapsing a lot, right? The body was just saying enough, 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 Lenny, enough with
Yeah,
this madness, right?
yeah. That's what I see now. So now I'm just home.
Yeah.
Maybe I I don't know. Maybe I do something later. I don't know.
I'm
See
even
what
finding
happens.
myself cooking now, like
Yeah.
a lot of cooking, and just enjoying
Yeah,
it,
it's
right?
creative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's art, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my goodness, wow, I can make that, and it's just wild. Or I like making my shakes.
Yeah. I do so
I did
in the
so.
morning, but I'm 5 hours ahead of you, so I
So
have
I
my
have like blueberry, I have hemp hearts,
mm,
um, and then I have what else? Greens, spirulina,
me too.
and then I add a little bit of maple syrup.
That's nice.
Even though it's blueberries, it's already sweet, but I like the taste of the maple syrup.
Yeah.
Canadian,
Yeah.
um, and strawberries, and then sometimes bananas. It's just so good making it. And then
Yeah.
when you enjoy the food now, right? Not like before that you were doing
Yeah.
it to be more spiritual,
Yeah.
um, better than others, and then you feel healthier. You feel
Yeah.
like that you're in a line, you're in a flow with life.
And there's so much out there about how to eat. You have to eat enough proteins. So it's sometimes it stressed me out because I had these patterns before,
Yeah,
but I don't want to listen to it. I don't. I just want to feel what is right to
yeah.
eat.
Sometimes I eat a lot, like in one day, and then the next day I don't eat at all.
Yeah.
Not purposely, maybe just a little bit, but and then my friend goes, "Oh, you're naturally intermittent fasting." And I'm like, "Oh, I
Yeah.
don't even know about that."
What? Yeah. Yeah. My husband is doing that,
No, I'm
and
not I don't even know what that is really, right? So it's like, do you eat one day and you don't eat the next day?
it's
I don't know how it goes.
from the if you eat at 8 o'clock in the evening,
Mhm.
you wait until 12 or 1 o'clock next day.
Oh, too complicated.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not for me. And the same is, it's the same that people want to tell you something to do to get something better
Yeah,
for
it's in the
yourself.
next. It's feeding the next, the next, the
Yes.
next, the next. You miss out on the aliveness of this moment.
Yeah.
And if you have too much food in your body, then you move around, then you run or walk or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And then everything just unfolds, and just like my dog, she's sleeping.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
Cocker spaniel.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
she's my nephew is here because they're in a spring break and his family left. So he has another dog here, a Shih Tzu, and my little thing. So I'm babysitting right now, a Shih Tzu and my my little doggy here. But yeah,
Yeah.
if you look at a dog, it's just so, it's just so awake if you look
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
And then here we are, kind of like reading all the books, and there's wisdom in front of you, and it's silent.
Yeah.
It's alive. You know what I'm saying? It's just being.
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't have any scriptures. It doesn't have any gurus or teachers or techniques. It's just there. And if you look at a dog, parade, you know what? Just, with its own fur, saying not needing anything. Meanwhile, here we are like combing our hair and, you know, putting on fashion and, shaving, all that kind of stuff, right? There's the dog just free as can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel very attracted to dogs,
Yeah.
and they usually come to me as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Me
Those
too.
small puppies, and yeah, just come and
There's a
yeah.
park. There's a park that I walk here with Ella Bella. It's an off leash park. And
Yeah.
so I wear this red jacket, red winter jacket, really, really loud red jacket. And then I have treats in my pocket for the other dogs, little liver bites. So someone started calling me Santa. So I have a nickname now. I'm Santa in the dog park, and all the dogs come to me. They know that I have the treats, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like the little Pied Piper for all the dogs. They follow me around.
But Toronto is a city, isn't it?
It's
It's a
city,
quite
yeah.
big city. Yeah.
It's massive. Yeah, it's massive. It's a
Yeah.
big, big, big city. It
Yeah.
has 6 boroughs, um,
Boroughs. What's
like
that?
suburbs basically.
Mm.
And it's like New York. I don't know if you've been to New York,
No,
but people
I've
say
been
it's
to Canada.
but people say it's cleaner than New York.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the cleaner New York. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's got beautiful parks. It's got
Yeah.
beautiful restaurants. It's got nice nature stuff in it too, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice.
Yeah, because I've
Ravines.
been to British Columbia.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there Chilco Lake or something.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we lived there in a teepee for 12 days,
Oh, wow.
meditating, and I had my first experience of uh no limits.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So you went
Uh,
all the way to British Columbia for seeking
yeah.
when you
Uh,
can just click on the internet and come to Canada within seconds. But it's okay. You know what? That's a part of it too. It must have been
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least you got to go to a nice place, right? So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what else have you done in your seeking? Looks like you did a lot there, Lenny.
Yeah.
How many
Uh,
retreats have you gone to?
I haven't gone to a lot of big retreats, but I have this guy who I followed to Canada. He was married to a Canadian woman.
Hmm.
He's Norwegian, but he lived half his life in Canada. So I followed him for many years in Norway.
Hmm.
And then I have now joined online retreats. Um, but I mostly like this one-on-one or just small group.
Yeah, I like small groups too.
Yeah. When everybody talks or just sit together. There's quiet also for
Mhm.
minutes, and I like that very much.
Yeah, me too.
But I see uh, what it's the fear that I still experience that um, pull me to the next.
Yeah, but where's the fear at this moment?
It feels like it's in the chest,
What if you go to the chest and just unlabel the word fear? What's left?
just a tingling sensation.
Yeah, it's just sensations. The
Yeah.
thoughts, hijack the sensations and call it fear.
Yeah.
But if you take away the word, it's just sensations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
I
see
used
that.
to have severe anxiety. That's why I know,
Yeah.
because I used to be afraid of the next, and I would be making up stuff in my head. And and at the same time, I'm trying to make my face look calm because I'm teacher, a
Yeah.
spiritual teacher, and here I am, kind of like going insane in my head, and I would go to a washroom and be like, you know, scream, and then go back again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
don't
then
always.
when I see that all words are made up, so anything that I can come up, even if I say that I have anxiety,
Hmm.
if you take away the word anxiety, what's left? If you take away the next, what's left?
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's just a piece that overflows, a piece that just keeps on unfolding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All I can really talk about is the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like almost like a spring from coming from the earth and just coming up, coming up, coming
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah.
It's the feeling now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's fresh again, huh?
Mm.
It's like being buried in a big winter with seeking, and then spring is coming, right? Perpetually coming because it
Yeah.
never ends.
Yeah.
It just keeps on unfolding, unfolding. There's a gradual undoing of the things that we think we believe, right? And if you really look at it, where's the belief if you cannot go to the past or the future?
Hmm. Just funny.
Yeah. And it's so direct and so immediate, right? That even people just watching the videos, people that I get emails, people saying that, oh my goodness, that's like 20 years or 25 years of seeking
Yeah.
done in a couple of videos, right? So, yeah.
Hmm. It's an alertness. It's not a doing. I'm not gonna do anything. It's just being alert
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to see when the next comes in or when the labeling happens.
Yeah. When the language unfurls
Yeah.
or the language starts creating kind of like a rabbit
So,
hole of thinking.
yeah. And then the thinking moves on to some kind of doing
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
or yeah, behavior stuff.
Behavior or a reaction, right? So, and then you're caught up in this trip again that I am angry or I am anxious.
Mm.
Instead of anxiety, which is just sensations that's happening, the I am claims it now
Mm.
so that it wants to be anxiety free.
Mm.
It wants to go to the next, right? So sensations happen, um, and then the word forms, oh, anxiety. And then the belief, I am anxious
Mm.
and I don't want to be anxious. So it's trying to go to the next. How do I get to the next? So the I am creates this idea that there's something wrong with the sensations when you call it fear or anxiety.
Mm.
Yeah. When the sensation just is just an appearance.
Mm.
Yeah. Comes and goes, right? So
Mm.
and then all of a sudden you're looking for um never ending looking for a cure for anxiety that you don't actually have.
Mm. Mhm.
Because and this is just from my experience, right? Because I used to have this anxiety over and over and over again, and because the I got attached to the anxiety, then it
Yeah.
became my identity, my
Yeah.
secret identity, because I did not tell anybody about it, and
Not
that
me.
became my suffering, right? Because I was putting on this persona outside that everything is perfect and fine, but internally there's a split again, there's a fracture again. I'm really freaking out inside, that kind of thing, right? And then I was taking medication when everything got really, really bad. And I would just be popping this Ativan pills that melts. It's such a bad addiction too. So when it wears off, then you feel anxious again. Then it increases. And then you're about to have a panic attack. Then you take 2 pills.
Yeah.
And then it increases again. And then you can't seem to. So after that unfolding about 8 years ago, I could not even find I forgot that I had anxiety because it's just so kind of like what I said, right? What's between observer and non-observer here?
Yeah.
What's between the mind and no mind? Now.
Mm.
Always now, right?
Mm.
And the past and the future thoughts did not make sense anymore.
Mm. Mm.
And then the happy, the happy, matches now what's inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same experience. Always had to hide the fearful or the shame of being fearful
Mhm.
inside. I didn't want anyone to know.
Yeah.
And yeah, play something else
Sometimes
outside.
the happiest people, you know what I'm saying, that you see on social media are the ones who's suffering the most, right?
Mm.
But you'll catch them once in a while get upset
Mm.
because it cracks, there's cracks in that image, right?
Mm.
Um, somebody asks you a question, they'll be like, yeah, they'll
Mm.
raise their voice. And that's what I did before too.
Yeah.
Um, I'm so happy to say that 400 videos later, 3 years now of YouTube videos, 4 years now actually, because I did nothing media as well. There's not a single video that I've been really and there's nothing wrong with getting angry, right?
Mm.
But what I'm trying to say, I can't fake happiness. Happiness
Mm.
is always it's just the default settings, seemingly. There's a contentment.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's still kind of like, upsetness or kind of like being kind of like a rebel that happens. I'll call it out, right? But
Mm.
the flow is just discontentment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll notice it too, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, yeah.
I heard your mother was sick.
Yeah, she's okay now. She's okay now.
Yeah.
She's always going to be. I saw her last Sunday, yesterday. We had a good time.
Yeah.
She yeah, it was good to see her. Just
Yeah.
we laugh now, and yeah.
Yeah. I had the same with my mother, but she's more now psychotic.
Oh no,
So I think
it's
it's
harder.
because,
Yeah,
yeah, because she's very angry and the stories are just, wow.
yeah, yeah,
So she's suffering a lot because she believes that this is happening.
yeah, yeah.
And I just
It's
try
either
to,
you see it as this extreme, or some people have this early onset dementia that they don't remember. So if you look at it, the words, you see the psychosis now, right?
mm,
You know what? The words are all well, we're gonna figure it out
mm,
anyway. That this is all a fabrication.
yeah,
When we get to that age where we're losing our minds, literally,
yeah,
because we never had it. It's almost like we're purging something that's not quite there, and then we go back into quietness.
yeah.
Would you rather see, realize this at your last breath, or realize this at every moment?
Mhm. Yeah.
Rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace, because the language is dead. So if the language is dead, then the you that you think is reality is also dead, because it never really started in the first place. Dead on arrival.
Mm.
Yeah. It's just made up, and we just get so much caught up with it, right? It's like and there's, what, if you look at non-duality forums, it's going to be fights about this and that, and everybody's just coming from their own interpretation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the
And then,
point of arguing back and forth of something that cannot be interpreted?
yeah,
Yeah.
instead of being pointers, they're starting to get there's a belief, not a
Yeah.
pointer anymore. It's
Yeah.
more like
And then you know what's worse?
solidified.
What's worse is that when there is a group of beliefs.
Mm,
So if they're it becomes kind of like this bigger split, right? Because there's the split where what there's non-doership and there's the doership.
mm,
There's no one to do that. There's no one to believe. That's non-doer, right?
mm. Yeah.
But they don't know that they're just another belief system.
No.
So now they're supporting each other. They congregate, you know what I'm saying, and create this group of just a bunch of characters just holding on to their belief systems.
Mm.
Yeah. Or thinking that they don't have a belief system, which is still a belief, by the way.
Mm.
So what's between belief and non-belief?
It's always this root.
Zoop.
Yeah.
When I make my next video, I'm gonna look for that. Zoop.
Yeah. There's a crack in everything. That's
Hmm.
where the light gets in.
Yeah, yeah. There's a crack in everything, right? And when you see the temporary is actually just a crack, and then you go past the crack, there's just the infinite. It's an opening to the infinite, right? Yeah.
And on the talk I mentioned earlier, you said there's this just small gap and then this widening out,
Yeah.
but you have
Yeah.
to get.
Yeah. It's almost like you also have to purge a whole bunch of belief systems. It will come up and they will just,
Yeah.
yeah. And then even belief about you, even you thinking about your own conditioning and everything starts falling apart, right? So it becomes this dissolution, this
Mm.
disintegration, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like your mom going through psychosis because a lot of stuff that she probably held on to now is coming out. She probably didn't say those stuff, right? So what you
Yeah.
resist persists, basically, right? So it's all of the fabricated stuff that she believed in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm assuming anyway. Don't take anything that I say for because it's
No,
just
but
all words.
yeah, I'm seeing that because it's been a hoarder as well.
Oh,
Always, it's been hoarding heavy stuff from the past and then over to things.
material things as well. Yeah.
So
If you've
yeah,
heard my talk, if you've been here, look, I always refer to the mind as a hoarder.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is a hoarder. Like, have you seen that TV show Hoarder?
yeah,
Oh, yeah. It's the same. It's the same,
yeah,
right? So when I do these sessions, usually when it's just kind of like I'm just the one that kind of like shows you, look, it's actually an empty room.
yeah,
And then the mind panics when it's empty. And then it takes stuff from the past or the future. How about this? How about that?
yeah.
Yeah.
But very a lot of people talk about the fear barrier. I feel I had so much fear in my life, so
Mhm.
it's like there's just freedom when this opening. It's just
Yeah.
freedom.
Well,
The
fear is
fear is
just it's just the last hoarding stuff that you have kept. That if
yeah,
you're afraid that if you get rid of it, then you will not feel then there's something you think if it's a value basically. It's
mm,
kind of like when someone is, you know, um picking out like a cabinet that's old and rotting and has termites and everything. And then someone will say, and then the person will say, no, 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 don't take that out yet. And the person will be like, it's worth nothing. It's, goes, you can still use it. For what? It goes, oh, it's a family heirloom. It's like fear. The
yeah,
fear is being taken out. You're like, no, 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 I still need that fear. For what? It has
mm,
not done nothing for you. It goes, it's a family heirloom. All my family has fear.
yeah.
So
Everyone has fear.
everyone in my family has fear. So I want to keep that, right? But what
Yeah.
if you what if you just take away the word fear, then what's left? And then somebody will say, well, the fear is right here. I said, no, 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 where's here? Where
Mm.
is it?
I can't actually feel it right now.
There you go. Yeah.
Mm.
If I was smart businessman or a con man, I'll be like, well, attend my 12-year membership. We'll slowly chip away at that. My 4 times a week, retreat, what I'm saying, at the Bahamas or something. I do have retreats, but I call it the last retreat.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, yeah. So for people that are kind of like, seeking for a long time and they just want to stop the seeking,
Yeah,
that's it.
yeah.
Once a person goes in, I don't allow them to come back again the next time. I'll work with
Right.
them until it's done, basically, right? Because it's like, so it's a one-time invitation only.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Not a good business model, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Maybe it is. You don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, I looked at it when, but because of my old dog,
Yeah,
everything I do is for my dog, and he's
yeah,
so
yeah. Please do. Yeah, don't leave your
yeah,
dog. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's
I'm
just
I'm
want to be
so
with me.
happy that when my dog passed away, I
Yeah,
was I was with him basically, right? So I was
yeah,
able to give him a lot of love, right? Because it's a lot of pain. My dog was, started having diarrhea. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? Was beginning to, and then I actually booked a to get him put down.
yeah.
It's a humane thing to do. Uh, and
How old was that dog?
It was 16 years old and 8 months.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then you know what? I gave him a shower. You know, um, and then I held him, sang him some songs, and then he looked at me, waved his tail a couple times, and then licked me, like just a little bit, and then goodbye. He was able to say goodbye. Of course, I was a mess. I was like, oh,
oh,
I cried like, I don't know, like a gallon of water probably,
yeah,
and I put flowers around him,
yeah,
and then where he slept, and put candles, and then I woke up the next morning, took him to cremate him, and then in the cremation they put the dog in front of you so you can say your goodbyes. I had another chance to say goodbye, right? And I cried again, and just so beautiful. And then I
yeah.
have him here. I have him here, in a little thing.
Oh, yeah. The
I
first dog.
scattered I scattered some of his stuff by his favorite tree. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? But most of him is here. Yeah. I want him to
yeah.
be with me.
Yeah, I lost my
I'm the one
first
that he
dog.
wants me. I'm the only one that he wants to be with anyway, right? So
Yeah,
why would I scatter it in a tree? I did a little bit in a tree, but he's right here. I have a
yeah,
picture of him. It's
yeah,
beautiful. It's like the most beautiful love story in your life is with the dog.
yeah.
Yeah.
I lost my first dog. She was only 7 years old. It was a dachshund. Uh,
Dachshund?
yeah, yeah.
Dachshund. Yeah.
And she was just fine. And then I heard her screaming, and I
Oh.
ran down, and she was and felt her stomach, or if there's something she's eaten or something, and just picked her up, and then she just looked me in the eyes and died.
Oh.
So I was like this crazy woman out in the snow, just no, almost no clothes, with a dead dog in my arms, screaming.
Oh.
And we tried to get her alive again, but
Yeah.
oh, it
Yeah.
was horrible. So
Yeah.
there was 2 years without the dog, and then
Yeah.
now
Although,
the one I have is 15. So and he has
you know
not
what? My best
so much.
advice. I don't usually give advice, but this is dog advice, right? Um, get another one.
Yeah,
Get another one. Like after a couple of months, get another one.
yeah,
Me was after a couple of months. No, no, not even less than a couple of months. And then I saw the dog with the same smile as San Miguel, which is Ella Bella. And
yeah,
now, you know what? She is so cute. It's the same thing, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, why did I wait a couple of weeks?
But we're two persons now, so we've been talking about maybe travel a little bit,
Yeah,
and
travel too. Travel too. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and then
yeah,
having another one.
yeah.
Yeah,
Travel a
and I,
bit.
I I also have chickens, and I have two left. They're 10 years old. I didn't,
Oh,
yeah, and they're pet chickens.
yeah, yeah.
So
You know what? There is a couple of My friend has a kid that wants to have a farm, and they're in their 20s, and I'm like,
Yeah.
not yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
You won't be able to go to any vacation if you have a farm, because you won't
No.
be able to leave your pet chickens and your pet cows and all that kind of stuff, right? It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should know that.
yeah, yeah. People think that they can just have a little farm, and the farm will run by itself. No. Yeah.
Now that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
That's a
and you can't really
lifestyle.
hire somebody to take over your farm. You have to be dedicated,
Yeah.
right? So especially some young kids, that in their 20s getting married,
Romantic about having
romantic.
a farm.
It's
Yeah.
nice, but you can't leave the farm. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful. Well, I'm gonna stop the recording here.
Yeah.